Okay, today we're going to take this truck apart and put it back together. And we're going to show how this truck out from underneath a Morris engine is disassembled and reassembled. So what we got here today is just one of the trucks, and it's upside down. So let's look over here. Now the first thing we're going to take apart is we have one of these little bars across these bearing boxes that holds the bearing boxes in place. So we'll unscrew both of these screws. Then there's one on each bearing box, and bearing box over here, and a bearing box over here. So you take out those screws, and I've already taken them out, and then let's back up just a little bit. Okay. Okay, and then first thing, point down here. First thing we're going to do here is we're going to lift out the bearing boxes out of the side frame, set it up here, and then we're going to take the chain off, and we're going to lay it over to the side and take off the chain. Okay, we got the chain off of the one wheel. Now we're going to take it off of the other wheel, and the first thing we have to do is, like I said, take these bearing box holders off. Then we're going to unscrew this is the strut, torque strut anchor. We're going to take it out, pull it out so we can lift this off. We're going to lift this up, set it up here, and we're going to take the chain, put it over the wheel, and then we're going to set the wheel over here. Now we've got the chain totally off. Chain's totally off of the truck. Now we can wash the chain or replace it or do whatever you want to do for it. And in order to adjust it, we're going to show you how to do that whenever we put it back together. So first thing we'll do here is, in order to put it back together, is we'll take this truck, wheel, I mean to say, we're going to put the chain on it. Just get it around the sprocket, or not around the sprocket, just around the axle. We're going to set these boxes back down in the side frame, and when you do that, you have to make sure now you're putting this on upside down, so you can see your lids for the boxes on the bearing boxes point outward whenever it's right side up. So when you're putting it on upside down, so you make sure that your bearing lids point up. The tab on the bottom points up. Okay. So that is very important, or else you'll end up having to take it completely back apart. So now we're going to get the bearings slots lined up with the drive shaft coming out of the frame where it's supposed to be. Now both bearing boxes are lined up where they're supposed to be, and now we've got the chain on that wheel. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is take the torque strut bolt, shove it in that piece of rubber. That keeps it from chattering while it's going down the track, so that it don't chatter whenever the strut moves up and down. Okay. And we're going to screw this in there, and we're going to run this all the way down and tighten it up real good and tight so it don't come out. We'll do that later. The next thing is we have to get that chain back on this wheel, and to do that we just loop it around that bearing box and around this wheel, and then put it back on the sprocket up here. Then you get your bearing boxes with the tabs in the right position, drop it in the slots. Now it's back together.
Yep.
Now you put your bars on the bearing boxes and put these screws back in both holes. Do this on all four, and that will lock the whole thing together. Then you can turn the upside right side up, and then you can check your chain tension, because the weight of the engine has to be on the bolster in order to make sure that the chain is at the correct position. And we'll do that in just a minute. Okay, now we're going to flip this thing upside right here. I'm going to turn it over. We've already got our bars holding in the gearboxes. And the main thing now is to check the chain tension. Now, in order to check that, you have to push down on the truck. You see in the gearboxes where they slide back and forth in the side frame.
Yeah.
You got these two springs here that allow this truck to flex. In the center, it holds. There's a pin that goes all the way through that holds the truck centered there. And you want to adjust the chain so that this sits on the bottom of that side frame, like that. And in order to adjust the chain, you have to push down on the bolster or on the corners to get a good side view of whether it's all the way down here or not. Now, if it's not, if it won't go all the way down, the chain's too tight. And there's two ways to changing that. One is to take this block out, which is held in by one screw. It's a 1/4 inch hexed head flat head screw right here that holds the block in place. The block has got a notch in it so that it fits up on this bolster. And you can trim the bolster until it gets to the top, or until you contact the head, not the head, but the stem of that screw. So you don't want to go down past the screw on the bottom side, so it'll rub the screw too much. So when you push down on this, the bottom of the chain down here should be straight parallel with the ground or floor or wherever you got it on. You can see how when I'm moving it back and forth, I'm pushing down on the side, and this allows me to see what the weight of the engine is going to do to it. Now I have parallel chain on the bottom. So if this chain is dragging the ground or even close, then it's too loose. With the weight of the engine on it, it should be straight just like that. Now, to adjust the chain tighter, there's two ways you can do it. One is by adjusting this block, and the other is by adjusting the chain. Here you can see that I have a added link, a full link, and a half link. You can see my little Carter key and a little pin right here holding the half link in place. So in order to do that, come over here and show me this. You have a half link and a whole link. So the half link would go in like this with a side link. then you have to put this pin in there to hold that in place. Now that is what you see right here. So this is what you see that's there. It's a half link. So anytime you want to shorten the chain, you have to go with a half link and a whole link. And then in order to go another half link, you have to take out another link. Okay. Then you can add a whole link instead of the half link. Yeah. So you either put a half link in or a whole link, but a half link will only mate up to a whole link. So it's kind of difficult to, you have to get this set here or figure this out so that you're going to end up with the right kind of chain adjustment. And in order to, if you can't get this down to the exact link, the best thing you can do is to make a thicker block here. Make this block a little bit thicker, and that will take up the slack. Okay. So there's two ways of doing it. One is once you get your chain set for the length, or get it close, then you can adjust this block. So what I do is I use these a block like this and cut out another skidder, this chain adjuster, to go underneath there. You take that old one, mark it out, and add a little bit of material to it, and mark it out, cut it, fit it, put it right in there. So this is the way you adjust the chain, by pushing down on the weight, making sure that it's all the way down to the side frame and sitting on the side frame on both sides, because the weight of the engine has to be on it in order to adjust it. Okay, I hope this will enlighten you just a little bit on how to adjust the chain on a Morris engine. It's not hard to do, but the hardest thing I've run across is trying to adjust this chain with a half link and a whole link. And I found that it's easier if you just use a whole link and adjust the block, the plastic block, instead of trying to figure out exactly the length of the chain. Anyway, good luck. I hope this helps.